Good afternoon, Shenandoah Valley, Frederick County, Virginia, the whole state, the one we love, the place where America started, Virginia. Welcome today to the 3% podcast. And as you guys know, we like to make sure that we cover a lot of different things. We have 7 different ministries, as you can see. This is our MTN pats.com website that we want you to go to and check us out. But we cover a lot of things. And one of the things that we want to cover also with the changing times is what's going on in our political sphere. So today we have the opportunity to meet with a young lady that I've got a chance to know. She and her husband, Mike. This is Julie Perry, and she's going to be running for the 10th congressional district coming this November. And we're going to have some fun with her today. But one of the things we like to do, most people don't have the time to research or get a chance to know who candidates are. So we want to bring candidates to you so you get a chance to see who they are, hear what they sound like, to talk about their platform so you have a much better idea on what fits best for you. So I'm going to turn it over to our moderator and facilitator, Charlie. My buddy Scott's here. He does a little color work with me as we go. So, Charlie, it's all yours, my friend.
Okay, thank you, Dana. And thank you, Julie, for coming on and sharing your thoughts, experience, and goals with us. And we deeply appreciate your willing to provide the service of stepping into the arena, because that is no small thing to take on. And I know you've taken a run at it a couple other times in this horribly deep blue area that you're in. I'm glad you're continuing. You're not giving up. You're continuing to make a run at it. And by all means, uh, we're happy to see you do that. But first, would you tell us a little bit about your background? Did, did you always want to be a teacher, and how did all of that come about?
Well, I decided to become a teacher because when I was a kid, I was diagnosed with a learning disability. And
Okay.
I had so many great people work with me, to help me get where I am. And I kind of wanted to give back. And I really just enjoy helping kids and seeing them learn and grow. It's the best part of the job. So when I got into teaching, went back to grad school, I had no idea there would be politics involved. I thought, "Hey, going to school and being a teacher, and I'm just gonna be a normal girl, I guess, and, inspire those kids," and never did I imagine this turning into politics.
Well,
But, um
it, go ahead.
uh, go ahead. Oh,
Well, I was going to say, you became a teacher of history, American history,
yeah.
and other things, of which politics is a large piece of that. So
My oh,
you
go
were
ahead.
headed for it from the beginning.
There you go. My grandpa, actually loves history, both of my grandpas, but one in particular, and he, really anytime I talked about history with him, he got really excited. So I guess I got the gene, that's what I like to say. And our history is so important because
Amen to that.
it's so important. We need to teach our kids the truth about history, the
Right.
good, the bad, the ugly. And by the way, America was founded on wonderful Christian principles. How
Yeah.
can we not teach kids about that? Virginia was the first colony, 1607,
Yeah.
Jamestown.
Yeah.
How can we not teach that? And so America, I teach world history.
Hmm.
And so I teach about other nations' histories. I teach world history. And other nations have such dark histories. I hate to say it, but Russia's one. And you teach about their history, and then you teach about our history, and you're like, wow, we really have it good in America. You know,
You do.
we have the American dream. You can move up, you can climb your way up the ladder because a lot of nations in this world you can't. And of
Legally.
course, legally, yeah, that's right. That's right. And I teach about ancient times. Women had no rights in a lot of these ancient cultures. And so when you hear the left scream, we're oppressed, women are oppressed, I'm like, study history. Study history and then get back to me, you know?
Right.
Look at ancient Greece, as much as they gave us some ideas with Western civilization. If you were a woman in Athens, you had no rights. Um, look at look at the Islamic culture, women are property. And so I guess I just don't understand how you've got these feminists screaming we have it so bad in America when they can't see this. And I guess I just don't understand it. And thank goodness. And I truly believe that God has blessed this country because we founded it on Christian principles.
Yeah, I would suggest in terms of not understanding it, if you just put a different lens on it and
Yeah.
realize that there are people out there that want to destroy the family unit,
Yeah.
that's a perfect way to do it.
Oh, yeah. Amen. Because if
Yeah.
you destroy the nuclear family, you can destroy the country within.
Yeah. Um, oh, when you taught history, is that when you got to a point where you thought you needed to step into the political arena?
No, it was, first of all, having to legally go after FCPS in 2019 and
FCPS is Fairfax
Fairfax
County
County
Public.
Public Schools. And really the COVID-19 shutdowns of the
Mhm.
schools did it too. And it was just like, one thing about COVID-19, as horrible as virtual learning was, it forced parents to listen in on their kids' classes.
Yes, it did.
Right.
It forced them to listen in, and it forced them to say, "Wait a minute, we don't like what's being taught." And it forced them to say, "Okay, what's going on in the schools is not okay." I remember in 2016, I was excited Trump had won, and I posted it on Facebook, and I became a target of some of my colleagues just for doing that. So, the targeting
Barbara.
is going on in the pre-COVID days, but it really became exposed with COVID-19. So first, parents standing up had to do with the shutdowns. Then it had to do with what was being
Mhm.
taught in schools. And now people are a lot more parents have been red pilled. I love the Matrix, and my cat's name is Morpheus. Anyway, I love that term
I
red
have no
pill
control.
because it woke people up, and that's what needed to happen.
Yeah.
And does the left like me speaking up? No.
Right.
But going after them in 2019 did put a lot of legal protection on me, to be able to stand up. And my husband was, like, frustrated. He's like, "We need justice, we need justice." I said, "Babe, 2019 was just the beginning. This has allowed me to lead to bigger things, to stand up, and I wouldn't be able to do this without my husband's support." Um, and, over the years, I've been able to it's allowed me to stand up, and it's because of it. And so God always has reasons for everything negative that's happened in my life. God has always put a positive into it, always. And I get so many letters
That's
from
awesome.
teachers, yeah, saying, "Thank you for standing up, Julie. You're saying what we're thinking." And actually, out in the western part of Virginia, kinda where you guys are, all the way to Southwest, schools are actually better than they are in the Nova districts now. The test scores are better. Kids are learning better at learning the reading, writing, and arithmetic instead of the indoctrination. There are so many good school boards around the state, and it's like Nova seems to be getting the attention because of all the negativity. And so what we need to continue to have good school boards around the state.
That's been a challenge.
Yeah. And we also what the main thing that has gotten me standing the main reason I decided to put my hat in the ring at the federal level is because my teacher colleague, I don't know if you guys had heard of this or not, but there was an abortion scandal in
Yep.
Fairfax County. Yeah, my teacher colleague was the teacher that blew the whistle.
Mm.
And Senator Bill Cassidy opened up an investigation. I was blindsided that the feds could do this, like, especially at the congressional level. And I remember just sitting in Senator Cassidy's office answering questions because I am a key witness in that case. And I remember just asking, "Hey, do you guys investigate schools and stuff?" And they said, "Yeah. Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, we can investigate the lawyers, everything. That's who really needs to be investigated," is what I'm starting to find out.
Mhm.
It got they said, "You've ran at the state. Have you thought about doing this at the federal level? You can, call for hearings for these corrupt school boards, superintendents, because ultimately people are starving for justice and they're not seeing it. And if I run at the congressional level, I can call this in. I can call these corrupt superintendents, school board lawyers, their law firms in for hearings."
I love it.
And that's what got the wheels vrooming
Yeah.
for me to run, because we got to stand up and they've got to be held accountable. And I'm
That's the big word, accountability.
Huge word.
accountability.
And I'm glad to see that you've got a plan to help
Yeah.
make it happen.
And that is
Especially with
really,
schools.
yeah. I mean, I wish every school board member was like, you and my friend Dina in Loudoun County, who's being attacked by the rest of the school board relentlessly. And, my friends in Powhatan. I mean, there's so many great people, and it's just like, we got to get the bad apples out. And one of my school board members said the big problem is these lawyers in the counties.
Mhm.
They're the biggest problem, and they're the ones that need to be held accountable and called in for hearings. And really, the congressional level's the way to do it.
I do
And
have
are
a
they
question.
tied with the teachers unions? Is that how they?
Oh, amen. Well, the
I can't
problem
believe you asked that. That's where I was heading.
I was
Perfect,
just gonna
perfect
talk
question,
about that.
Charlie.
Please ask. What's the question? Teacher unions?
The teachers unions.
Well, I will admit I was guilty at being part of one.
Most of the time, you don't have a choice. We've been taught that you kind of follow along with the system, and we're finding out
Or
that
you
that's
don't,
not the
or
way.
you don't learn until you get inside.
2019 to 2021, I was part of Fairfax Education Association. In 2017, I thought they would be there for me when I needed them, and they weren't. And so, unfortunately, my husband and I had to take $16,000 out of our pocket to pay a lawyer because they weren't there. So that was my initial anger.
Wow.
But what really made me angry was during school closure. So in 2019, they weren't there for me when I needed them, but they were all over the place when it came to closing schools.
Mm.
And I don't care what Randy Weingarten says, she was the advocate for closing schools. Randy
She's
Weingarten.
still out there going, she is.
I mean, I'm sorry, she doesn't represent teachers. She represents her donors. She
Herself.
represents her leftist following. She represents the destruction of this country.
Mhm.
No other way of saying it.
Like,
And what's sad is she's got the left-wing media backing her up.
Yeah. What do you think about the media?
Oh, they are so dishonest. My gosh. They have really, basically in 2021, they tried to paint me as all kinds of things that I wasn't. And, they do it because they're clearly in the pocket of the far left. And so they're so dishonest, and especially Julie Carey from NBC4. Matter of fact, that was the one that was next to Ralph Northam. Remember when Ralph Northam said he was okay with the doctor?
if you
Doctor,
just keep them comfortable.
Punch him in the head.
yeah,
Holy moly.
she was right next to him as he said that. And she, guys, got to be one of the most dishonest media people out there.
Well, they're all owned, and that's a shame. And when you said COVID-19, uh, I mean the amount of misinformation, and we talk about this. Charlie Scott and I talk about this all the time. The misinformation, the disinformation, or the omission of real facts. But it does tell me that if you got attacked from something, that says to us, that says that you're doing something right.
Thank you.
Okay, because the people that get attacked in God's world are usually Christian people trying to do the right thing. You
Thank you for
know,
saying that. That's a great way to put it.
it's
It's
true.
true.
And heaven forbid you present factual information and then they have to tell everybody how your facts are wrong or a fallacy, even though you know that it's the truth.
It's the truth.
What
I
did
mean,
Biden say? We want truth rather than facts.
Yeah.
He did.
guys just hear yourselves, right?
That's what he said. We go for truth. Well, you know the thing.
There's another thing about what's going on in schools, and it kind of relates to how I look at Democrats versus Republicans, or Republicans versus Democrats. The Democrats, well, let me back. The Republicans are for small government, rule of law, the Constitution, all of those sorts of things, and the
And
Democrats
two genders.
Yeah.
are all about sex. I mean, it balances each other.
Well, boy.
They're about sex as much as we're about constitutional republic,
Oh my
and
god.
it's really sad. And you're running straight into gender issues and
Yeah.
parental
are you?
notification and trans and boys in locker rooms. How do you
Oh my gosh.
feel that?
First of all, those kids that truly struggle need a lot of love. And the kids that truly, truly struggle with gender dysphoria, they don't even want to go into an opposite gender bathroom. They'd rather be in a one stall.
Right.
In Fairfax County and Loudoun County, and I'm sure it's this way in Frederick County too, there's one stall bathrooms. You can accommodate to that, but you should never accommodate. The 23rd chromosome is very powerful. We're not the same.
Mm-mm.
That the XX and XY are a big deal here.
Your opponent doesn't understand that, by the way.
Oh no, he doesn't. No.
And if I'm not mistaken, that is Subramaniam.
Flip flop.
I'm just going to say that because I follow him. Well, I follow everybody on the other side, and I say the other side because to me that's who they are. But I follow it because I want to find out how people. I like to find a balance, but I'm having a really hard time, Julie, finding a balance with pretty much most people on the left side.
I like the idea that the solution to all of this leftist sexism is a one-holer.
Yeah. I mean, it keeps everybody safe. And, no, you can't. I mean, girls, I've had in the past, I've had female students say they're not comfortable with a male student in the bathroom, and they shouldn't be. There should be nothing comfortable about that. God made us two genders, and God doesn't make mistakes.
No,
Oh, God, males and females are different.
Yep.
That XX and that XY is a big deal. There are certain things, me as a female, like if I were to be President Trump's bodyguard, I'm not the best person for that. I'm 5'3".
we saw that in Butler.
Exactly. Exactly. It's okay to say, you know what, Julie, you're probably not qualified for that, but you're qualified for many other things. That's okay.
Well, we're men. We're not qualified for a lot of things that we're just not.
Yeah.
It's the way it is.
It's the way it is, and we can't change that.
What about the trans issues?
You know
How do you
what?
see that, Julie?
Did you know that most teenagers overcome that with the right amount of counseling? A lot of
Or
times,
be left alone.
And puberty.
it's called being a teenager. It's called your frontal lobes aren't developed yet.
And thank goodness for the Supreme Court that told Colorado the very same thing.
Exactly
Yes.
right.
You can't, my 14-year-old girls, I can't expect them to have the maturity level of their frontal lobes being developed.
Right.
I mean, let's face it. And I'm using phosphato names. You know, Sarah got mad at Betty because Betty forgot it was Sarah's birthday. Or, I've literally had this happen before. Or a piece of Sarah's hair was sticking up and John isn't going to notice her. This is what teenagers are thinking.
That's what they're thinking about. Right.
Yes. They are not. And so teenagers go through teenage crisis phases, but they outgrow it.
It's called learning.
It's called learning, and the right amount of counseling helps them go through it. And that's what we need for these kids that truly, truly struggle.
If I can get you off on the sidetrack here, because what you're saying is so exactly important.
That was waiting.
And there was a prime example. I don't know if any of you saw this the other day, but when they had their No Kings rallies, and I think this was in New York, and the guy was there with a fake German accent. He's interviewing people in the crowd. And the first person that he came to, he says, "Are you upset that they're only focusing on the Straits of Hormuz and not the gays of Hormuz?"
I
And
saw that.
he was going off on, yeah, that's horrible. We should be all inclusive. I mean, this girl, who was probably no more than 20, had no idea that the Straits of Hormuz is geographical. I asked my grandson the other day. I mean, he's in 12th grade. I says, "What's the Straits of Hormuz? Is it a place or is it a gender?" He says, "It's a place." I said, "Okay," but I mean, she was into it, hook, line, and sinker, and it was just amazing how ignorant she was. I mean, she was all into, yeah, they're being mean to the gays of Hormuz. I'm like, my gosh, we failed these people so miserably.
Everything does revolve around education. That's how we saw it. It all begins with the children. So one of the most important things that I know that Mountain Patriots is looking for is what we do with the children and what we do with the money to make sure that we're okay so that the parents can spend time doing what they need to do, which is rebuild the nuclear family and spend time with the children.
Yeah, and along that line is the spending in schools.
There we go.
Yes.
You know, they're just spending on the wrong things that they need. The teachers have to fend for themselves and buy. So,
Oh,
what's your thoughts on the school?
well, if you ask my husband, he'll tell me, "Babe, you spent more money on your classroom again?" Because what choices do we have?
Right.
We were
Where'd the
doing,
money go, Julie?
yeah,
Where's the money?
bloat administration, lawyers. Did you know that Fairfax County Public Schools just this year alone has spent $12 million on lawyers? And they're paying them $18.50 an hour per lawyer. What a waste! All to
Called
cover up
laundering.
their crimes.
$150. Is that what you're saying?
$1,850 an hour, Charlie.
Yep, $1,850 an hour. And
Don't forget the money spent on personal bodyguards for the superintendent either.
who makes more than the president of the United States? And it's just that is not okay when
And there's probably the similar disparity with numbers,
oh,
teachers
big
compared to
time.
administrators.
We have way too many administrative positions. I mean, why do we need executive principals? Why do we need DEI administrators? We don't need them. Let's, in all honesty, I shouldn't be spending all this money on my own supplies. But you do it because you care about your kids. It's not their fault. The kids.
Well, here's another topic, another piece of that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good
you know,
conversation.
what can you do from the federal level
Oh,
when it's questionable whether the school should even be part of that?
well, because they get federal money,
Yeah.
I can call for investigations in at the federal level, and I can say, How are you spending the money the feds are giving you?
Doge.
And yeah, and if you guys are not spending it properly, then it's time to withhold your federal fundings.
Bingo.
It's time to withhold it from these people
To the checkbook.
because, yeah, that's right. Start hitting them in their pocketbooks. Because guess what? Without money, I love what Trump said about the crazy mayor in New York City. He said, I'm not, yeah. Listen, I am not funding communism because if you don't fund communism, you can't implement it. So if you don't fund their bloat spending, they can't implement it. So, time to start holding these school systems accountable. Hey, we're giving you X amount of dollars. Now you show me how you're spending it. And we don't give you this money to spend on yourselves or to cover up your crimes. We
See,
give you this money to spend on the children and the teachers.
While we're still on schools, what about the violence in schools? The kids that don't respect the teacher, much less their parents, much less anybody in authority.
Well,
How do we deal with that?
those are the kids that need the most love. That's the first thing I've noticed. But second thing I've noticed is guess who did not make it easy for teachers in dealing with disciplinary kids? The Obama administration. The Obama, and I was shocked to hear this, started at the federal level. And now what Obama is saying, what Obama implemented was if you're going to suspend students, each race needs to meet the same ratio as another race. So you see where this is, yeah.
Oh, geez.
And this is coming from this came from the feds. And so this is more like, holy cow, more
separation.
education stuff that needs separation. Why are the feds deciding how kids can be disciplined? What?
It's
Yeah.
it's not just the feds because the legislature in Virginia is doing the same thing about suspending kids and disciplining kids and making it racially viable for you can't take these marginalized groups and hammer them harder than you do. It's getting more stupid every day.
Let
Oh,
me
yeah.
go stay on that subject for a second, because now we're also, if you mix this in the disciplinary actions, that kind of takes you into immigration at the same time, because they're not treated like American citizens are. So the money that we're paying in taxes is going to a corrupt system that pays for lawyers to protect the people that are guilty of crimes, as opposed to where it's supposed to go, which is the students and the teachers,
Right.
to be able to get a decent education.
That's right.
And we're spending all this tax money to keep the pot flowing. Like, I don't understand why a lot of people vote that way, because are you not getting the fact that you're throwing gasoline on a fire that just turns into a bigger fire?
That's a great analogy. That's exactly what's happening.
And
And
this is all happening as the government is not, the federal and the state are
Yeah,
taking over what the parents should be doing.
right.
that's right.
The
And
parents don't have
The
a choice.
destruction of the family again.
Parents' rights.
oh, parents have a God-given right. The 14th Amendment establishes that.
Out.
What about the parental bill of rights?
That's right. My prediction, bold prediction, I see a Supreme Court massive parental rights case brewing. Massive. Because at the end of the day, parents have fundamental rights that can't be taken
Right.
away. And 10 years ago when I started teaching, I taught special ed, and they were even saying to me, if there's an IEP meeting and say, this was
IEP.
just a hypothetical situation. Say that the parents are divorced and one's in jail and one wants to participate from jail. We have to let that parent participate. That was a hypothetical situation. I didn't have a student in that situation, but just a hypothetical in a training. They have the right. So my thinking is, okay, if a parent that's in jail has a right to participate in their kid's IEP meeting, why wouldn't they have the right to know what's going on in school?
And I was thinking of that two ways. I'm thinking, number one, I'm getting, and it depends on the crime, but am I getting information for a kid that might be in a bad situation?
Yeah.
Okay. Or, and on the other side, you're telling me that we don't have rights as a parent, but the parent in jail has a right to be in the IEP. So no matter how you slice it, they've got you kind of coming and going where you're scratching your head, going, I don't even know what the law is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane. It's just insanity. It's just like, what the heck? So if a parent from jail has the right to participate in their kid's IEP meeting, wouldn't two parents that are together have a right to know if their kid is struggling with gender dysphoria?
Yeah.
Make this make sense, people. Make this make sense. I
Scott,
mean,
I know Scott sees because he's been in the school board. He's been the chair of
yeah.
the school board. Scott, weigh in on this because you've been on the disciplinary side of humanity, okay, and on the school board side. What's your thoughts on this? Because you're pretty detailed when it comes to this and very
Yeah.
insightful.
Well, I mean, part of the problem, and it's always been you've got the parents that do not care. Like I did 36 years in corrections, and yeah, I could tell who was parented and who was not. I mean,
Right.
there are kids that go bad, and I get that, but you know, when they come into jail and there's no respect, it's screw you this, screw you that. You know, you can tell. I've been in the schools and I can see the difference. I remember I went to pick up my grandson, and this was several years ago before I even thought about running for the school board. And I didn't even have this. And as I was hobbling up the sidewalk, this kid was standing there and says, "What's up, Gramps?" And I'm like, "Excuse me?" You know, that kind of crap. And the problem is if a teacher does something, then you've got the parent that my little angel would never do wrong. My little angel is perfect. They say their prayers every night. They go to church every Sunday, but mom and dad don't realize their little angel is a holy terror in the school. And personal example, we used to have one that lived across the street from us. Mother thought he was the greatest thing and the sweetest little angel. And I remember sitting here one day, and him and his buddies skipped school, and I'm watching them look in the ladies' bathroom window across the way, and I called her up and said, "Hey, you got peeping toms behind you," and they hid in their house. I'm like, "Hey, your kid's cut class. My kid would never do that." I'm like, "Okay." It, but if a teacher tries to discipline them, then you've got the parents. Little Johnny or little Susie would never do anything like that. And yeah, and I've sat in a couple disciplinary hearings. I sat in one just a couple days ago, and I'm like, the whole time I'm listening to this, I'm like, "You're the problem, not the kid. You're the problem." And it's hard. I guess it's hard for these kids to when you don't give them the tools that they need about respect, about manners, whatever it is. Um, it's if you don't give them those tools, they can't use them, and if they don't see them, and they're just imitating what you do, and basically, so, I mean, it's a mess all the way around.
And they took God out of school.
Right.
They
And
did.
that's got to change.
That's
I mean,
gotta
you can
change.
take pornography into schools, but you can't have a Bible just kind of
Well, it's not pornography, it's banned books.
banned
Yeah.
books. But
Was
that's, I mean,
And then
neo
we make
Nazis.
them all the victim. You're the victim. It's not your fault because you were born this way, or you're born to a certain socioeconomic. You've been oppressed. The mean white people are keeping you. That kind of stuff. I was in a classroom a couple weeks ago. I was doing a school tour, and it was a history class for elementary school students, and the teacher was up there putting the timeline of Virginia history, and
Oh,
we're going back to 1607, and the first three things that she put on the board on the timeline was three things about slavery, nothing else. And I walked out and I looked and I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "The only things that happened that first 150 years was slavery, slavery, slavery." I said, "Are you kidding?" "Well, you haven't seen the whole curriculum." I said, "I don't have to. I know what I just heard. Nothing else happened." It's that kind of stuff that the dumbing down of history, the not tearing the statues down. And these people, they tear statues down and they do the man on the street and say, "Who did we fight in the Civil War? Mexico, France." They don't even know why they're doing what. Just like the lady up there who was wanting to defend the gays and reformers. They don't understand. They've never been. We don't teach it, and even in Virginia now, the legislature trying to change how we teach history to teach it from the marginalized groups. I really don't care what the LGBTQ opinion is on the bombing of Hiroshima. That shouldn't play anything in this whole thing. I could care less about the. Yeah, it's those types of things.
There's another thing that Spanberger is mandating to teach in schools, and that's January 6th.
I was
And
just
that's the
thinking
other
that
thing.
too.
You can't teach it. It's nothing but an insurrection.
Nobody was ever
How many people got tried for insurrection?
correct. Nobody.
0. Nobody.
So let me switch gears here for a second because we're at the kids, but now I know as you guys in Congress hold the checkbook. So in order to be able, this is my thought process now, my opinion. We pay athletes, we pay lawyers, we pay all these people all of this money. But the people that actually care about the students are really good teachers. I would much rather see you fix energy costs and transportation costs and wasting money so that we can hire good merit-based teachers. I would rather see a teacher making $1 million a year and the athlete making 50 grand rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
Because most people aren't going to make it into a major league or professional sport. So I think there's got to be a way, Julie, when your campaign that you figured out on what you're going to do with energy, what your thoughts are on data centers, how we can. I mean, there's so much money that people have been brainwashed into thinking, and ways that we can do it. And you brought up a point a few minutes ago about the lawyers, 18.50 an hour. What are we doing with this instead of? There's got to be a way for Congress to correct this problem. So, what are your thoughts on energy and transportation?
Well,
These are big deals right now here in the county, especially energy.
Well, first of all, I don't live in a utopia thinking that doing away with natural, with doing away with I
Fossil
don't like
fuels.
this whole, well, let's just do away with non-renewable resources and let's have everything renewable.
It won't
It's
work.
like, folks, get out of your utopia. Well, give me a freaking break. That is not where we are. These
Your opponent is a climate change guy. Okay.
and here's the thing, it was hotter in the Middle Ages, people. But why don't we discuss that? Also, I do have a question for my opponent. If climate change is such a big deal to you, please hop on a plane to China or India and please go protest the climates there.
There you go.
Horrific.
Go buy a piece of property on the ocean.
Did you know a little interesting fact about California? California's pollution problem didn't come from anywhere in the United States. It came from China. Because what we're doing is we're shipping all of these industrial jobs to China to save the environment. And what's happening is China's making all this money, which we don't want, by the way.
Yeah, it's going away.
Yeah. And their air pollution is so bad. But by the way, if you protest in China about that, they'll kill you. Over here, all climate change is doing is taking away jobs that are very necessary. As a matter of fact, I am so glad. I'm so glad we have a great person in charge of the EPA, pulled out of Obama's 2009 shenanigans.
It's Zeldin right now.
Yes, yes, because guess what? The Keystone Pipeline is a great thing.
Mhm.
You know, here's the thing. We are explain to me why most cars are still living on gasoline. I have a hybrid vehicle. One of our vehicles is a hybrid, the other's a truck. Guess what? My hybrid can't do without gasoline. Are we gonna perhaps fly batteries with just airplanes? Oh dear.
Yeah.
You know, allow me to run the other way. We're not there, folks. We're not there.
Well, you just ask all those people, what was it, about 2, 3 years ago that got stuck on 95 in that
Oh yeah.
blizzard, and their batteries didn't work, and they were freezing in their cars because they couldn't. It was, and it's like, you know what? That's why you don't buy a battery operated car, because it
That's
ain't
right.
gonna work when it's cold.
But Tim Kaine made it to DC that day, so that was good news
How do you think you would go about, Julie? How would you to muster up the support?
in
Because
this
we
district.
yeah, because we need
Yeah.
to we need to have a voice here in
So the
Virginia.
way the 10th district is split up, I think of it like half of the 6th district and half of the 11th. So where do we have that line? My word. You've got a teeny bit of Fairfax, but not much, thank goodness. You've got Loudoun County. So what do we do in those two areas? Education. How did Youngkin win 44% of Loudoun County? Education. But then we've got Western Prince William, which is the western part is very rural. You've got Fauquier and Rappahannock, and that's like those are very rural areas.
Right.
So then what do we do there? We focus right now a hot topic. I actually had an event in Fauquier and had some 2A people come out. And they said if you want to up the percentages in these counties, you do have to appeal to people like us.
Mhm.
So
True.
I've got to talk about the Second Amendment because it is a powerful tool and I can do it in a historical perspective.
Good.
Second of Thomas Jefferson. I can say, you know, we need that because as a history teacher, Thomas Jefferson said, we must be armed to defend ourselves against government tyranny.
Right.
And so I think those are big, big issues. Education, Loudoun, and that little bit of Fairfax, Second Amendment, Fauquier, Rappahannock, and that Western Prince William piece is how you got to do it. Because even in blue parts of Loudoun, these parents are tired of these corrupt administrators. I
They
don't
need
care if
help.
they need help, and I don't care if they're Democrat,
I don't
Independent,
either.
or Republican.
They
My
need help.
friend Amy won her school board seat at Deep Blue Sterling because she appealed to these people. That's how we win the 10th district because the 10th district is very unique from the other districts. It's not deep, deep blue, but it's not deep red. It's
Right.
purple.
Purple.
That's the best way to put it. And that's how, and it's a winnable seat, but we've got to appeal to those the big thing is I've got to appeal to those suburban Loudoun moms. And that as a woman, that is my goal to do and being a teacher. And that was part of the reason the media attacked me so hard in 2021 is because they knew I was helping Youngkin with that population.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
I think a lot of I think the legislature in Virginia, I mean, they went all full bore communist on us, but I think they overplayed. I mean, this is my opinion.
People are tired of it.
I think they overplayed their hand, especially with this 2A stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And you can be anti-gun if you want to. I get your argument. I don't agree with your argument, but I get it. But there are a lot of quote unquote Democrats who own firearms well because they're in fear for their safety living. You see what happens in Fairfax County. The illegal aliens have killed 2 people now. That poor mother at the bus stop where she got stabbed to death, and they just had another one the other day. So they see these things, so they want their gun rights too. They see that people like Steve Descano in Fairfax County are giving all these people a pass on their crimes, and then they keep going until they finally murder somebody. That one guy had what 30 some
30.
convictions
30.
of stuff. It's crazy. So even your Democrats who aren't Looney Tune leftists, they see how far left we're going, and I don't think they like it. And I think that's going to help you in the long run. But appealing to the common sense things, that's the big part of it.
To the
Same with
extent that
redistricting.
you mentioned education, and to the extent that you can educate people that it is not about hunting and target shooting. It's about, as you said, protecting us from tyranny from within.
Amen.
That's
Just like this flag behind me here, Sic Semper Tyrannis.
That's right. And I think the other thing too is they way overplayed their cards with this redistricting. I
Right.
do.
Yes,
I
they did.
really think they do. And I don't know what's going to happen with this. They've got the millions of dollars, but for all the millions that they poured in, they should be doing better than what they are. And the fact that they're not is like, okay, maybe. And I think a lot of it is they've overplayed their cards with the 2A people. And they should. And the 2A people have every right to be angry. I mean, I'm angry
You know
about
what?
it.
People, it's funny because we're so far right and left, and a lot of people are starting to come more to the middle.
Yeah.
It's okay to say, I was wrong. I apologize. I messed that up. None of us are perfect. And,
Right.
you can look at this and go, wait a minute. The redistricting thing, we all voted on this 6 years ago, and now something's not right. Maybe I was wrong about something. At least we're trying to appeal to people to please, just for your own sake and for the sake of everybody, let's be open-minded and have a balance. It can't go all the way right. It can't go all the way left. There's got to be a balance, but it's okay to say, man, I didn't see that coming. We've all been there. Didn't see that coming. Doggone it, I messed up. I got to learn a little bit more. But, when you start asking people, Scott brought up about the guy asking about the Strait of Hormuz. You know, uh, ask somebody in high school who Washington, D.C. was named after. Now, that one got me. And I was thinking, Lincoln? I mean, it's in the name. It's in who
That's
fought
right.
in the Spanish-American War? The French. I mean, it's okay to say, I messed up or I got it wrong or I didn't know. This country needs to be, especially the state needs to be more humble about the way we're coming towards things.
Oh, amen. Amen.
Julia, one of the things that you mentioned that's important
been a
to
good
you that you
conversation.
want to talk about is
Great.
healthcare.
Yeah.
Would you tell us what your stance is
Help me
on
with that
the
one.
current situation of healthcare?
Oh my gosh. Well, what I don't like is the Unaffordable Care Act, and yes, I'm going to call it the unaffordable, has caused many doctors' offices to shut down because the insurance companies are paying them very little. They're getting paid $18 when they should be getting paid 100 or 200.
Mhm.
But who's banking the money? The insurance companies. And that's gotta end. I mean, these insurance companies, this is highway robbery, what they're doing. My husband and I are on my health insurance. I get 500 and a little over 500 taken out every month of my check,
On a
plus
pre-tax basis.
a pre-tax basis. That's right.
That's what I've done for people forever. That's my job.
My work pays the other like 1,500. So we're already paying these insurance companies $2,000 a month. And then on top of it, I go, we're paying our $25 deductible, but oops, there's another $350 deductible each of us have to pay on top of it, and you've got these big bills. And it's like, this is highway robbery, what they're doing. And so, I know a friend who struggled with leukemia. She's paying $40,000 for a leukemia visit.
Right.
And it's because these insurance companies are robbing people so to death of their money. I asked Mark Warner, how do you sleep at night knowing that you're lining the pockets of these insurance companies
Because
with
he's lining his
They're giving
pockets
him
with the money from the
kickbacks.
insurance.
So
I mean,
what did he
these
say?
insurance companies are making a 1,700% profit. And people are angry about this.
I'm going
It
to
is
say
not, it
something
is not
here.
health care, it's insurance care.
Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah.
to say something here, and she's right. I'm very impressed with the way you answered that question, because this is what I've done for the last 25 years. I've
Yeah.
worked with companies all over, with unions and with big corporations, the railroad in West Virginia, and what they pay for healthcare, and what you've got. It is a scam. I was in Wisconsin on March 23rd of 2010 as
Yeah.
a third party administrator in a training group with my company. This is doing what we do. When they passed, and I didn't think it was going to pass, the Unaffordable Care Act. And it's the biggest scam when it comes to healthcare in history. And you got Medicare and Medicaid. That's something else we need to look at. And there's a big one and I just put it out yesterday because it was just signed, the Spamberger. And I'm going to have to get full time more back into this, because everybody knows what family medical leave is. The Family Medical Leave Act it protects an employee's job, and it gives them time away for family situations, sickness, or
Sure.
a parent, what have you, grieving your kid, up to 12 weeks. It can be broken down into 15-minute increments of time. So if I need to go to a doctor's and I'm 20 minutes late for work, that comes off my 12 my hours, my 12 weeks of
Yeah.
time. Right? Coming up is going to be paid family medical leave, which means that the employer has to kick money in. It's already hard enough to get people to work, uh,
Yeah.
like it is. Okay, they want $40 an hour for a $10 an hour job, but then you're going to have leave that's coming up, Julie, that you're going to have to look at. Paid leave. So the employer's got to kick money into that. The employee's got to kick money into that. And the ones that are making out are the insurance companies and the politicians. That's got to stay in the pockets of the employers. That can't happen.
No.
And I agree to a point with leave, because people do need it
Oh,
sometimes,
sure.
but not 12 weeks of, hey, I can sit back and do nothing.
And then they have to pay their replacement at the job on top of
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely have to. And if
Yeah.
that person can do that job and hold that job open for the person that
Oh my
isn't there,
gosh. It's gonna kill small
it's going to kill small
businesses,
businesses.
specialists especially. And it's even government jobs. Hey, eventually they're gonna have some problems.
Yep,
And so, it's one of those things where, like my job, if I had to be out 12 weeks, somebody's got to teach my kids
absolutely.
while they would pay me. I mean, guess who's being affected? The
That's
taxpayer.
why you have an Aflac plan. I mean, that's the truth.
Oh my gosh.
That's the truth. But now they're going to make the employers pay that. And I don't think people are ready. They're not only not ready for that, they're not going to be able to afford it. That will crush a small business. That will crush it.
And
Because
I think
I've dealt
that's
with
what they're
compliance for
ultimately
25 years.
I think that's what they're trying to do is crush small businesses.
That's exactly what they're doing, because the more control they have over you, the less time that you have to fight back. So we
Well,
need fighters.
Need
Charlie, I know
fighters.
you have a question.
Go
Julie,
ahead.
was there anything else about healthcare that you wanted to talk about?
I think that's the big thing is, you know what? These ideas, well, socialism sounds so great on paper, but it's horrific when you implement it. Look at Venezuela, for an example. Look at Cuba. Folks, they're not going to be happy when all of their tax dollars have to get pay for this.
Yeah,
Right.
but they can just tax millionaires.
Oh, yeah, let's start with the people in Congress, right?
Right.
Let's start with Elizabeth Warren, let's start with Tim Kaine, let's start with Mark Warner. I think we should start with taxing Congress members.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I promise you, they would all of a sudden have a change of heart. Let me tell you.
How do
Because
you?
that's really who's making the money. Oh, and Miss Elizabeth Warren too.
I'm you're very educated on this stuff. I'm very impressed. I'm
Yeah, let's
I'm
start
very
with
impressed.
taxing them. Let's start. You know what? You know what, Miss Warren? You want to tax the rich. Let's start with you.
Yep.
You know what, Nancy Pelosi? You want to tax the rich. Let's start with you.
Yep. You know what?
Speaking of,
And you'll
speaking of
find out in the
money,
one big beautiful bill, people they're just starting to file it. They're just starting to get their tax returns.
Yeah.
Okay. The no tax on tips, all of this stuff is working. The tariffs is working. People actually got more money back. And here's what's really neat. The lower income side got more money back this year because of this.
Yes.
Okay. And the ones that are making a lot of money, they didn't get as much back.
Yeah.
But they did, you know what I mean? It was more, I'll say it was more fair this year because I work with the accountants and the brokers and the financial planners and those guys. So I have to keep up with that.
Yeah.
And you're right. Let's start with those guys and stop the
Start with
insider
them.
trading and make sure that right. I think you're on point. You're
Well,
on point.
I mean, Elizabeth Warren complains about taxing the rich. Well, let's start with you.
Yeah. As she cracks a beer to be human.
Let's start with you, Elizabeth Warren. Oh, and by the way, I have more time in the classroom than her. Can't wait to
I
share
love it.
that. And Randy Weingarten. That's what
Uh,
she champions for too. But anyway,
Pocahontas and
let's
a beer.
start with them. Oh yeah, and Mr. Hakeem Jeffries.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the one that got on the floor and pouted like a 2-year-old when one big beautiful bill was passed. How come he has the money to fork into this redistricting? I mean, he's got millions of dollars he's been forking into it.
They need to buy stuff.
you need
It's because he wants to be the Speaker of the House.
That's
They need to
right.
buy a position, not earn it.
Not earn it. And so my thoughts are, come on, Hakeem, let's start with you, buddy. Let's tax you. Let's tax the millions of dollars you
Absolutely.
have.
just a
I want
reminder.
to
Just a reminder for those who don't quite understand. Vote no.
just
Yes.
vote no.
Amen.
Vote no, because you know
And
what? This
on
is
that, it's all about the mission. And what I'd like to bring us into is the mission that's going on now with the Department of Defense, and where do you stand on peace through strength? What
Great
the
question.
Department of War is doing? Can you share that?
well, first of all, I don't like what's going on in Iran. I don't like the fact that they have strengthened our enemies, such as the Chinese Communist Party.
Hmm.
I do get where Trump is thinking in that terms, but the problem is if we get wrapped in this war, it could hurt us a lot too.
I think we'll be out in about 3 weeks.
I do too. I do
too.
too. Um, I think what Trump did with Venezuela was great. Captured Maduro, that was it. And the capture of Maduro wasn't really about Maduro. It was about weakening our enemies.
Right.
And it was about weakening the Chinese Communist Party because who on the West Coast were they getting their oil from?
Right.
Venezuela.
$10
Also,
a barrel.
another thing we are not paying attention to is the British monarchs and
Yeah.
what's going on. They're not innocent, let me tell you.
Paying attention to who'd you say you were?
The British monarchy.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why he's meeting with Charles. And
Yeah. They're a problem. They're a big, big problem.
Well, did you see what the king did? He recorded a pro-Eid message on the eve of that Muslim holiday, but he is refusing to give an Easter message. That should tell you all you need to know about the British monarchy.
They're also
In Britain.
they're in cahoots with our enemies here. And
We're proving that through NATO right now.
boy, have they ever. And they're the problem with the censorship and stuff.
Oh, yes.
It's time to call them out. It's time to put a crackdown on the British monarchy. Thank God Rubio, I love that guy, by the way, has banned those the 5 people from the UK that were the problem, that were the ones saying we're spreading misinformation. They were really the problem with all the censorship. Thank God he banned them from his country. And so we need to really crack down on them too. And so they were a problem in Venezuela. Can you explain to me how, when Maduro was captured, how did the Bank of Britain have all their gold?
Amazing, isn't it?
Amazing. And I've been doing a lot of research in this, and I'm just like, this is unbelievable. Are our allies really our allies anymore?
Nope.
Are they?
I need to say this because
Go ahead.
I'm very impressed. We've talked to a lot of people. Charlie and Scott will tell you the same thing. We've talked to a lot of people. I have not yet had anybody come on here and talk like you're talking right now and have an idea about somebody like Elizabeth Warren or Hakeem Jeffries, or you could get into, I call him Swell Wall, because we needed a wall. He helped create a swell wall. Or what's going on with Macron, or different Iran and how you see it. That tells me that if Virginia is looking for somebody that has at least their finger on a pulse, you can't flip a coin and decide because somebody told you how to vote. Somebody that has paid attention to what's going on, not on the state landscape, but on the national and the world landscape, because it all comes together. So I'm just going to say this for everybody watching. I'm impressed.
Thank you. And
I'm impressed.
I give the credit, honestly, first to God, second
Amen.
to my husband, my dad, and my grandpas. Very
History.
well-informed men in my life. And if you talk to my husband, you're just like, okay, he always kind of helps me with what's going on.
He's a good guy. I got a chance to talk to him for quite a while.
He said last June, when Pete Hegseth and Trump did that mission in Iran and we got a hold of their nukes, my husband said, Julie, listen, this isn't
Midnight
about
Hammer.
Iran. Guess who this is really to send the message to? I said, who, babe? The Chinese Communist Party.
Absolutely. They're sweating right now. The CCP is really sweating because that $10 a barrel oil is gone, and now you've got people in the Strait of Hormuz trying to figure they can't do anything. Everybody's hands tied because they can't say he's backed, as I like to say, my wife and I will say, he's backed the deep state into a corner. So if you're going to play chess with these folks right now, Trump is a really incredible chess player.
He's got them panicking. He's got them on the edge of their seats and they're working hard to make sure.
That's one good thing about Trump. He thinks like the Chinese play the long game. They look 10, 20, 30. Trump does the same thing. He's not looking at tomorrow. He's looking about 5, 10 years down the road. And the rest of the people cannot keep up with him because he's leaps and bounds beyond everyone else.
He's on 4 missions ahead while we're still paying attention to what's back here.
We're paying attention to the minor stuff, what's going on in Minnesota and our local stuff, and Trump sees the bigger picture.
Absolutely. They just took another guy out today, Suhar. I think it was $30 million. He's been here 32 years. The child trafficking and the trafficking, that's coming to, starting to screech down. The stuff in Hollywood. I mean, Epstein, I understand why things are taking time, because
Yeah.
people can't wrap their heads around everything that we're talking about here. Just
Yeah.
today, what we've talked about today, 90% of the people know about 10% of what we're talking about right now.
I
If
totally
that.
agree. If
Hit
that,
that.
including Suhas, I think.
Okay,
And
yeah,
just
I'm in
and,
agreement with you. He does
and
not
just
know.
to, and just
Yeah.
to put a bow on this segment, Julie, it's great that you are teaching world history.
Thank
Because
you.
you understand it, you know it, you watch it, and we need to know what happened before to help us know what's going to
Thank
happen
you.
in the future.
You can
Amen.
teach my kid.
Thank you.
He might be a little older than you, but you could teach him.
So what I'd like to do is change the topic again to elections. The SAVE Act is out there. We're looking at, if we don't have election integrity and control, then we don't have a country.
That's right.
Much like,
That's right.
like if we don't have our children, we don't have a country.
Right.
But what about the election? How do you see all of this going on?
I think the SAVE Act will do absolute wonders. And it's no wonder, especially the blue states are panicking so bad over this. Our own Attorney General, Jay Jones, wants to sue Trump over the fact that that ICE agents can come to the polls. And why are they panicking so bad about illegals not voting? Because they rely on them for their votes.
Are
And
the
so,
ICE agents going to be there? Why do you want to know? You going to have illegals there?
exactly. Thank you. They need their votes. And so that's what it's really all about. And Gavin Newsom and Tim Walz were just going crazy that Trump would dare send ICE to deport these people because it hurts their census data. Because what are people doing to blue states? Fleeing. And they're going to red states. So that's taken away that's taken away seats from them. Well, guess what, guys? You did it to yourselves. Sorry. And so we need, first of all, if you're going to vote, it's reasonable to say you need to be a citizen of this country.
Absolutely.
It's very reasonable.
14th Amendment's pretty clear.
And
And
voter
by
ID.
the way, oh, go ahead.
And voter ID. Right?
And voter ID. I'm a woman, and I don't find voter ID offensive. It's
Do you know
simple.
where your birth certificate is? Come on, that's
I
a
sure do.
struggle.
Or I sure do. I mean,
Oh,
I
okay.
had to have that to get my real ID.
Oh, wow.
And by the way, if you don't have your birth certificate, it's so easy to obtain it. And this is just the left gaslighting everybody because they want their agenda fulfilled. And by the way, it is a lie that women that get married will not be able to vote. Of course they can vote. They have IDs. Guess what? I got married. I'm a woman. My last name changed. By the way, guess what? I got married in 2012, the year of a presidential election, and it was very easy for me to vote that year.
Great point.
And no, I did not vote for Barack Obama.
I was going to ask. I'm teasing you.
I voted for Mitt Romney that year.
We didn't have a choice. We have McCain and Romney.
Oh boy, no, I did not vote for Barack Obama that year, but it was so easy for me to vote, and I got married that year. All I had to do, guess what? Go to go get an ID, show that you got married. It's very easy.
So what do you think, since you're on that topic, what do you think about the executive order that Trump is pulling through now, as far as the post office? You know about the post office and the specially stamped envelopes that only go to citizens and they can be
Yep.
tracked.
Absolutely, I love it. Because if that's a problem with you, then you want illegals voting that shouldn't be voting. And if that's a problem with you, you're breaking the law and you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing. And so, they can kick, cry, and scream, but, Jay Jones and the other Democrat attorney generals are going to lose this battle in the Supreme Court. Hate to say it, guys. You can kick, cry, and scream.
Boy, somebody paying attention.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's another thing too, is that vote by mail. Even for the people that need a absentee ballot, all they have to do is say the deadline for absentee ballots is a week early.
Yeah.
So then if it straggles in a week later, it's still before election day.
That's
Right.
right. Right.
There's so simple fixes to these things, and they just purely want to cheat, and it's
That's what they
amazing.
want.
Yeah,
Yep.
they have the media on their side, and they know it.
They
But
know
then
it.
you're going to
Hey,
disenfranchise those people who don't know how to use the mail.
Yeah, yeah. Can't get a voter ID. You know,
That's
all the
right.
minorities are too dumb to get a voter ID.
They just want to cheat. That's what it
and they're
boils
playing
down
the
to.
race card with that too. It's the gender card, the race card.
Yeah.
I got another question.
Yeah.
I like this
One of the
conversation.
4 um, constitutional amendments for Virginia is abortion. Tell us where you stand on that.
You know,
That's coming up in November. That's going to be another vote
It's
no.
one of the 3 questions.
first of all, the left loves to gaslight with this issue. Loves to gaslight with this issue. When you tell the left that Democrats believe in full-term abortion up to 40 weeks, they even hinge. They don't want it's funny how they fail to tell that information because they know if they actually tell the truth about the abortion amendment, they wouldn't get support for it. So they love to gaslight saying that they want to tamper on a woman's rights. But yet they're against the murder of somebody, you know? And so let's be real here. The last time I checked, if a baby is born out of the mother's womb and the doctor kills it, that's not abortion.
It's murder.
That's murder. And that makes anybody cringe. I don't care if you're Democrat, independent, or Republican. I think it's important for our side to call that out. I was so happy when President Trump used former Governor Northam in 2024.
Yeah.
Yep.
And by the way, it's not even decided at the federal level. It's decided at the state level. So most people don't know that too. And so what we have to do is call them out for their extremism. And when you do that, people are just like, oh my gosh. Now, I am pro-life and I am not afraid to say it.
That we are too. I mean, there's a lot of people that would love to have a child.
That's right. That's right.
I'm adopted. So what does that tell you?
That's right.
My son's mother was adopted. We
Yeah.
kept our son. You
Yep.
know, that's the way it goes. I wouldn't have changed that thing.
That's right.
Life is life.
Life is life. But on the ballot, this abortion amendment, that's what it's about.
Mhm.
It's not about a woman's right to choose. It has nothing to do with that.
Mm-mm.
But the left likes to gaslight about it. And
Right.
Suhas is going to gaslight about it.
Oh, he's all over that. Yeah.
He's
And
going
the
to
same thing with
gaslight big
illegals
time.
in the bathrooms, and I know all.
He's going to use the leftist lines and he's going to gaslight about it. And he's not going to tell the truth about what that's really about. But I will call it out. I will say, come on, tell them the truth. What do you want? That's what we have to do with these people. And I thought what Trump did in 2024 with Northam was brilliant. Because if we start hammering them like that, all of a sudden they're not going to want to talk about abortions anymore.
And heaven forbid that you steer them in the direction of where this whole idea came from with the eugenics and all those things. What I'm having brain cramps. What was her name?
Sanger.
Yeah, Miss Sanger.
Margaret Sanger.
I mean, the
Oh,
Nazis took their cue from what Margaret Sanger
they sure did.
wrote. And when you and I've told people that and they say, "Well, that's a lie." And no, let's go back and find it. It's factual, and here's where it
factual.
says it. And she was a huge racist. And when you start telling them that stuff, and they're real, well, that's not true, Robert. Yeah,
Oh, yes,
whatever.
it is.
That's where it's got
Yes.
has its roots from.
That's exactly where it has its roots from.
I got one last question, and
Please.
it has to do with the felons. I know where I stand on it, but that's going to come up. I think that's well, if the
That's
same-sex
another
marriage is a big deal, okay.
When you said felons, you mean the felons getting their vote
The
back.
felons getting the
Good
chance to vote after they've done, I'm going to say after they've done their time. And there's also a same-sex marriage bill that eliminates, from what we understand, eliminates the religious exemption for anyone that marries a person that
Again,
says that
these bills have nothing to do with what they say.
we know that.
Nothing to do with what they say. As a matter of fact, that same-sex marriage bill has nothing to do with same-sex marriage.
No.
Has everything to do with tampering on constitutional rights. It has
Great answer.
everything to do. As a matter of fact, that's
Couldn't
another
answer that better.
Supreme Court case coming down the road if this passes. Um, this has nothing to do. Even people that are homosexual are against the same-sex marriage bill because they know it has nothing to do with them. This has everything to do with silencing anybody who doesn't comply with the far left's agenda, fining them, putting them in jail, all these things. And felons, I mean, I get that there are felons that get their life together. They end up, changing for the better. Of course, eventually they should be restored, but that's not, again, that's what that's not about. It's about, going into the jail cells and having these mentally insane people vote.
Right.
These bills have nothing to do with what they are saying.
Thank you for clarifying that for people. It has nothing to do with what it is about. It's about trying to pick a vote on a topic that meets an agenda that you might vote for that person and forget all the other stuff and vote for that one thing that
Yeah.
makes no sense.
And I have a feeling more Virginians are gonna be against this than what they think.
I do too.
You know, I kind of have a unique perspective on this whole felon voting thing. And I know the other night when we heard Tim Anderson speak, he said he had no issues with it. I have issues with it, having been around a lot of convicted felons.
30-something years.
If and as you said, some of these people that they clean up, they get their life back. I have if you've done the right things and you've done the proper steps and you've proven through many years of change that you're in the right direction, then I say it's an individual basis. But a blanket, we're going to give them all this stuff. No way, Jose, because I'm just telling you, you've given up your rights as far as I'm concerned. When you've committed those crimes, child molesters, whatever it might be, drug traffickers, you've given those rights away voluntarily. You threw them away because you crapped on our rights. And I don't believe in giving it back to them. That's just my personal opinion on it.
Yep. 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 The
Okay, guys,
better
is there
bills
anything that we haven't touched on that Dana or Scott, do you want to ask Julie?
I think she's done a marvelous job. I'm glad that I got to meet you the other night, and if I can help you in any way, you let me know. I'll be glad to help you.
Thank you. I need as many school board members. My goal is to get as many school board members behind me, and I've talked my goal is to back you guys at the federal level if I'm lucky enough to get in. And so because we have so many good school board members in Virginia and you guys need to be recognized. The problem is these Nova school boards like Arlington, Fairfax, and Loudon are getting all the attention.
Alexandria, right.
Yeah, and so it's like we need to just there's so one thing Tim Anderson did say is with this J6 bill, we're gonna fight this because no teacher or school board member should be forced to implement this on the kids. School board members shouldn't be forced to make teachers do this. Teachers shouldn't be forced to teach this.
Right.
It goes
Right.
it goes both ways. And so
It's full wokeness.
it's full wokeness, and we've got to stand up and fight back. Because you know what? If we don't fight back, they're going to continue mauling all over us.
Mhm.
And
I
by the
agree.
way, the delegate that wrote that J6 bill happens to be Dan Helmer, and he's in my district.
Yep.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
we're not in. Look, I got to say this: Mountain Patriots can't endorse any candidate. We're not a PAC. We're
Sure.
not anything like that.
Sure.
But I love what you have to say, and I hope people take this to heart. What you're saying today. We're in a different district, but we want people all over to be able to hear the different candidates that are out there. If there's a Democrat that wants to, if Supermani wanted to come on here and have a conversation with us,
Yeah.
absolutely we would have him on here and ask him the same question,
Absolutely.
and be
We
as
should.
courteous. But I will say this: I am extremely impressed with the amount of knowledge that you have, not just on local events and school events, but on a national and a world stage level. Because I think most of the people that end up in Congress or in some school board chair or board of supervisors or anything like that really doesn't know most of what we're talking about today. Charlie, what do you think?
Well, I agree with that. I'm very impressed, and I'm pleased that you're running, and I'll pray that you get there. We need
Amen.
people like you
Amen.
in place to help rescue this nation.
It's God first. And
God
I
first.
just want to say thank you for starting this in prayer. Thank you.
We do everything. We start everything with prayer. I
I
mean, that's who
this
runs this. I mean, Charlie and I just work for the CEO, and he's up there. Same with
this ain't
Scott. I mean, we know who the CEO is. You
Christ.
know, we do. We make
Christ,
no bones about
our
it. And
Lord
today
and
is Good
Savior.
Friday, and
Right.
we're celebrating the resurrection of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on Sunday. And that's another one of those things that I know some people have a problem with. They change Easter every year, and that's just to throw us off. That doesn't give people kind of a hint on how they want to brainwash or indoctrinate us. Whatever. Every year, Easter's on a different Sunday, and
That's
it's to throw every one of us off. Okay, and it just amazes me on what we've
Back
seen
back to
here.
back to my original question. How can we help you?
perryforvirginia.com, and I'll send you the link.
Thank
Yes,
you very much for coming and spending your time with us.
This has
sure.
been fantastic.
Appreciate it.
It's been fun. This has probably been my favorite podcast I've been on.
All
Well,
right.
we're newbies at this, but we
I
care.
love
We
it.
love the country. We love God, country, people, children, and that's what drives us. So, Charlie, we want to do the Mountain Patriots prayer today.
Yes.
We have our own Mountain Patriots prayer. Would you like to take us out? Thank you, everybody. Real quick before Charlie gets the prayer, make sure you go to mtnpats.com. Check out our 250th anniversary podcast with the Liberty Man, because we do have a big podcast on the history of the entire United States, on the glorious cause. Take a look at all the ministries that we have going, and make sure that you like what you see. Make comments on what we have here, and please share this everywhere that you go. And remember, perryforvirginia.com.
I
Charlie?
love it.
Okay, let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful world and the country that you've given us, and the patriots who are willing to care for it. Thank you for inspiring our founders to create this beautiful republic. Please help us to keep it as the inspiring place to live. Please give us the wisdom to do the right things, the common sense to judge wisely, the energy to never give up, and your unending grace in which we take comfort. Jesus, in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Julie, I want to thank you, everybody, and all you guys for doing this as we do all the time. And what we do at the very end of this, as a Mountain Patriot sign off, we always say, like Rick would say, and this one
Is in the
is
book.
in the
And
book.
books.
God bless you, everybody.
God bless you. Thank you. All right, bye.